Hello. Welcome to the
Hey,
podcast.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Stanka or Stanka?
Stanka.
Stanka. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't.
common question, common
Is it
question.
really? Okay, good. I don't feel so stupid because now that I hear myself saying Stanka, I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. Sounds like something people would call you in elementary school, right?
Well, at elementary school, we were all Croatian, so I was
Oh,
one of
really?
people with weird names, so it was fine then.
Wait a minute. So you're all Croatian. Are you from Croatia?
My brothers came here in the late 50s. I was born here, so I'm first generation. Yeah, I'm 100%.
So did you grow up in a town that had just a lot of Croatian immigrants?
Yes,
Really?
Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, quite a few people here. We have church that everyone came through as the sponsor. So there was lots of Croatians in the neighborhood, a lot of different nationalities, actually,
Right.
from all over the place, Eastern European people. So it was very vibrant, all kinds of different foods and different traditions, but we all gathered around the church. So yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we moved when I was 12 that I was very unsettled, and because I was the only Croatian in this very American suburb. I mean, well, of course, we're all in America, but yeah, that's when my name stuck out, and I thought, okay, I have a weird name.
No, I think it's a great name, but it is unusual for your average American. Yeah.
Yeah, and my two older brothers. The oldest is Vladimir, so everybody was more comfortable with that name, Vladimir Kordic.
Yeah.
But and then my middle brother, Bronco, that was also very strange. But so the two of us probably dealt with a lot more harshness than the oldest one.
Well, my last name is HEIN, so I got Heiny Hole, Heinz Ketchup. You know, we all get it.
What do you do?
What do you do? You know?
Thick skin, right?
Exactly. Well, I am a huge fan of your work, so I'm super excited to talk to you about it. It's just remarkable.
Thank you. And likewise, I was just looking at this beautiful, where is it?
Oh, my son. Oh, I would think you would like that one. Okay, so I'm glad you pointed that one out because I was going to say one of the things I love about your work is that you've achieved something that I have tried many times.
What do you mean?
Well, this idea, this thing that I love so much, you know, there's like you're doing it well, Aaliyah Chapin does it well, Daniel Seagroves does it well. I don't know if you're familiar with those other two.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Daniel, say that again.
Seagrove.
Okay.
Segrove. Okay,
Mhm.
you should look him up. You guys have a very similar, it's different. Your work is very different on one hand, but I have a feeling you'd like it a lot just because you just have to check it out. But all three of you and a lot of others have been successful in doing this, combining the figure and the portrait with abstraction, non-representational art and design, which I just love that. And as you pointed out by showing me my picture of my son, I've played with that myself, but I like the way you do it better. So, which is one of the reasons I have you on the show. I'm like, dang, man, she's really got it figured out.
I don't know if I have. I just try stuff. You know, I just try. I am not attached to the outcome. And I think that just gives me a little more freedom maybe than people are used to, because in my time teaching, you know, teaching adults, everyone is so fearful to try anything bold or make a different mark or use a different tool. Like, no, you gotta let it go. Yeah, you gotta let it, especially if you were trained traditionally.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
I wasn't trained traditionally. Okay, so I'm not afraid. That's different. I'm a creature of habit.
Oh.
So it's like once I get sort of attached to something, I I can't imagine one day doing what I think you're doing and just like throwing solvent on a painting or like using
Yeah.
unusual tools and whatnot. It's like I know my brushes. I'm comfortable with my brushes. I paint with my, you know what I mean? And well, you probably don't know what I mean because you're so good at experimenting. But yeah, I guess I'm just a creature of habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so tell me. Oh, go ahead.
No, I saw.
Oh, well, forgive me on this podcast if I'm sniffling a little bit. I don't know if I have allergies or what. I'm going to try not to do it too much. But um, so tell me a little bit about yourself. We already know you're from Croatia, but you grew up here.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit more about your past, about your life growing up.
Okay. Well, yeah, we came here. I was a very introverted kid, so very quiet, and the only girl with two boys. So our household was actually very busy and very creative. Because way back then, I'm old. I'm in my 60s, so we didn't have TV and things to distract us. And my parents are very busy. They had to work. They had to work all the time to keep us fed and housed. And so we found our own ways of entertaining ourselves. My brothers were super creative. Now they think back, they were doing stop action movies. They were taking apart.
Wait.
Yeah, so just for fun.
Wait, what technology did you have to do that back then? Just
a camera, I think, and it was like you move a little bit to take. I wasn't like my oldest brother.
A still camera, like a 35 millimeter camera?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't have anything digital.
And then what were you doing? Putting them together like a flip book or something?
Yeah, well, it would just be this funny little splice of like he'd have my one brother like get on the floor like he was going to drive an invisible car, and he'd like move a little bit, then they take that picture and move a little bit, so when it was all put together he was like driving on the floor.
That's really creative, especially in that time.
Yeah, it was, and there were so many movies like that, just like funny little things that he did a lot of, like candid camera stuff, hiding and taking us doing stupid things. But anyway, I was so quiet, but and we was a very vibrant neighborhood and a lot of kids, but I was one of those kids that when I got tired of the crowd or playing, I would just disappear and go up in the attic, and I wouldn't tell anybody. So I just like go up into our house. We had an attic, and I just hang out in the attic, and I look out the windows down at everybody playing, and I go, oh yeah, it looks like they're playing kickball now, or whatever. I'd be up there by myself, like
doing what?
Just drawing or playing my own little imaginary thing over there. I don't even know for sure, but I was just I like being by myself. So,
really?
So anyway, yeah, we moved, I went to high school, whatever. Oh, I had really instrumental teachers in my life, I think, growing up, because here I am with these creative brothers. But I just remember in second grade, Mrs. HEIN held up my picture of George Washington that I did for some assignment. And she was showing everybody how good it was. And I was like floored. I just thought, oh my God, let the floor open up and take me. That was uncomfortable for me. But at the same time, I was kind of like, okay, that's fine. But then as time went on, I ran across different teachers that would point that out to me, and I still kept ignoring it. Like, I'm just going to go and hide in the attic or in the closet and draw.
Okay, let me ask you something about that. So when you say you were ignoring it, did it make you uncomfortable socially? But it must have, obviously it was social because you're an introvert, right? But what about your sense of confidence though? Did it from the beginning give you a little boost of confidence, like you had something special?
No.
No, really? You just totally ignored it?
No, because that's what we did. My brothers were always drawing. They were always
creating. Right.
That's what we do at home.
So you're like, oh, this is normal in my house.
Yeah. We clean on Saturdays, and in between, we draw and do other creative things. I don't know. I just thought, what's all the fuss about? That's what everybody does. I just thought everybody was doing that. Like, I really didn't think it was anything terribly unusual. And then high school, my dad was very intent on having me as the girl have a career that would be supportive of, my future and family life, something I could always have if I family, they're very traditional. Okay, so whatever. And at my high school, we had different tracks of study and, you know, college prep or whatever. And then they had like a business track where you could go be an accountant or, you know, back then, secretary, whatever. So I was on that track. I was on the business track.
Mm-hmm.
I was a good typist. So that actually comes in handy now on the computer. I was doing shorthand, all that kind of crap.
You can do shorthand?
Oh, I couldn't do it now, but back then.
Oh, I wish I knew how to do that. It's a lost art.
Fascinating. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, I liked it. I mean, I'm sorry to have seen it go. But anyway, I had time in my schedule and I had to fill it with an elective of some sort. And I was a sophomore. So I took Art 1, which was the freshman course, just to fill my schedule. And so the little nun there, I think the assignment was to do, like, we had sketchbooks and she wanted us to do the cover of it, something personal to you. So make it like your nameplate and then you make it your own little expression. So what I did, and again, I didn't think anything of it. I set up 2 mirrors and I did a self-portrait in profile. And so she thought that was pretty wild. That was pretty good. She goes, honey, what are you doing in Art 1? I said, sister, I'm filling out my schedule. She's like, no, dear, you're going to be in Art 2. I think you need to be in art class. I go, oh, okay. So that started the study of art.
Okay, did that build you any confidence at that point?
Yeah, I think so. Because I was older and she was just very, and I'm still in touch with her, bless her. She's 93 now.
Wow.
She was very instrumental in getting me. I mean, she really single-handedly got me on this path, I think. Just as far as here's what you do. So she sent me to study as a sophomore. So that was what, I was 15, I think. Yeah, to study oil painting with a local teacher, like it was an adult ed kind of class, but he was a wonderful, generous guy. And I did that for like 2 years and I did life drawing classes. She sent me to another place for life drawing. And she said, you're going to have to go to art school because, you know, you're very good at this. I think you should pursue it as a career. And I said, sister, you got to talk to my parents. So she did, you know, at one of our art shows where we had work up, and she did in her very gentle way, spoke to them. And, you know, my parents took her word and thought, okay, do you think she'll be okay? She'll be okay out in the world, you know, because her brother's already doing that. But I don't know. She's very quiet. She's a girl, you know. Oh, yes, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. And so I applied at the Cleveland Institute of Art, which is the school in our area. It was a 5-year program back then for BFA. And I got in with some scholarship money, and that encouraged me. So kept going. And yeah, all along the way, it seemed like I had these little angels in my life that were just steering the course, because I was just sort of, here's what I'm doing. Okay, that's what they said I should do.
That's amazing. You know, I'm thinking this whole time, I had forgotten about this, but I had a nun give me sort of a boost when I was younger.
Aren't they great?
Yeah, well, these 2 of them are, right? Yeah, when I don't even have any association with nuns. But I had a friend who was associated with a university, a Catholic university, and this nun was over the arts, and he's like, you got to come in. I was in high school. You got to come in and show her your art. And yeah, it was sort of a similar thing. Like, oh my gosh, we got to talk to your parents. You're good, you know?
Yeah.
What's with the nuns? Why do they have the in the art world? What's the deal?
I don't know. I can remember there was a set of twins in my class, and they were really good as well. And we sit in the corner and go, and one of them said, I don't know where this comes from. And I said, I don't either. You know, we were just doing this stuff that people seem to respond to, and none of us like knew how it happened. So sometimes I think I still don't.
That's funny. So how did it go when you got to art school? How was that experience?
Okay, it was grueling. It was grueling, but in a good way.
Okay.
The first 2 years, they had a foundation program, which was, you know, painting, drawing, design, and like all day class, like all day painting, all day drawing, all day design, like from 8:30 to 5, actually.
Hmm.
You're in one with one teacher in one group, and it would be models, it would be all kinds of stuff, like, working from life.
What? So they had real drawing and painting training?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wait a minute. When did you go to school? What years?
1980 to 85.
And they had real training then?
Oh yeah.
So this was a total outlier then. This had to have been.
Well, this was, I don't know. I mean,
the 80s was the middle of the modernist movement. It was like the whole world was just, painting with blood and urine and all kinds of weird stuff.
Well, they had some teachers that were into that too. So, but the first 2 years, they that's why they called it the foundation program. And then when you were in your third year, you decide on a major, and then you go off and do your major for the 3 years. So, I went in there because my brother Vladimir was already a successful illustrator in the world.
How much older is he than you?
About almost 9 years.
Oh, wow, that's a big jump. So he'd really sort of, that must have given you a little confidence as well. Like, my brother's doing it.
Yeah, he was one of my teachers too. He taught me a lot, actually, about painting, because he went to a local college called Cooper School of Art, which was, I think it was a 2 or 3 year program. And it was just commercial art. Back in the 80s, commercial art, illustration, graphic design, all that was the thing. And Cleveland was a pretty vibrant town with work. There were a lot of ad agencies, and you could find work doing that. And he probably for a good 10 years, he was doing national accounts. He had 2 agents. He did stuff for like Celestial Seasonings. He did the milk thing. There's billboards about drinking milk. George Dickel whiskey, all kinds of stuff, and his style was similar to Rockwell. So he would gather the models, do the setups, do the photography, and do these wonderful paintings that were kind of mimicking Norman Rockwell. And he was really sought after for that. But anyway, he basically taught himself to paint, and sometimes he would come with me when I was doing the portrait painting class. He would come with me, and we'd paint with Mr. Bill Whitsett was his name, the teacher.
Okay, but so I'm curious.
Okay, I'm going back all over the place.
No, you're good. But I'm curious. I know this isn't about your brother, but he's not illustrating anymore, is he?
No.
So what is he doing now?
Well, right now he's rehabbing our family home.
Oh, if he's 9 years older than you, he might have retired probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So did he get kind of shut out at some point of the illustration world? Yeah. Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah. So all that happened, and oh gosh, yeah, that blew up. Well, I can remember. All right, let's go back. All right, so I'm in art school, and I had to declare a major, and I kind of walked into that school knowing I would be an illustrator. For some unknown reason, I was trying to remember this. Why did I declare painting as my major? I don't know, because that department was all the modernists.
Yeah, that's how it was in my school. I went
to the painting department as a third year, and my teacher was someone very well known in the op art world, Julian Stanchik, and I understand word zero about what he was saying. But I just sat there and I took it in, and it wasn't until maybe 30 years later that I finally got it. So he was a wonderful colorist. I learned a lot about color through him. Him and my design teacher, Robert Juergens, they were all from Yale, and they studied under Joseph Albers, who.
Whoa, that's hardcore.
Yeah, and
Jeez, if you don't know color studying with him, you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, and we were trained that way.
Wow.
So I really got a good handle of color theory between those two guys. So yeah, I learned a lot at that school that way. So, but I was exposed to a lot of trains of thought, a lot of different modalities, and I just took it in. I didn't make it because I was so quiet and so like.
Still, even at this age, you were still shy?
I didn't start talking until much later, Jeff. You know, I don't know
What happened? Was it a drug of some sort? What? Because you don't strike me as shy now.
I'm not shy now, but I am. I can only take
You're
this
still an
kind
introvert. You're just
of,
outgoing introvert now.
yeah. Like after I talk to you, I'm gonna stop talking for the whole weekend.
I'll try not to make this too intense for you.
No, it's okay. My husband's already prepared. He knows. Plus, I lose my voice, but that's another tangent. Okay, wait, where was
Sorry,
I?
I keep throwing you off by throwing in
No.
questions here. So you were studying with this guy. You learned about color because he studied
Yeah.
with Albers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so, oh, but I was miserable in my third year because I didn't understand anything, and I think, and he was a wonderful gentleman. He was well respected, and he just never talked to me because I think he saw me in the corner. He came over to me in the corner one time. I didn't know what to do, what to paint. So I stuck my feet up against the wall and I painted them. My feet, my shoes on the wall, right? And I remember him looking at it and just like walking by, didn't say anything about
Yeah.
it. And okay, I'm not getting any help here. So I went to the portrait painting teacher at the school, Jose Cintron, kind of interior.
Was he in the illustration department or the fine art department?
Yeah, he was in the fine art department, but he taught portrait painting, straight up working from life portraiture.
Oh.
So I said, can I switch and come to your class instead, and you be my advisor instead? Oh, yes. He was from Puerto Rico, had this wonderful Spanish accent, and he brought me in, and that's where I got all the education about working from life and learning about the great masters, you know, Soroya and Sargent, all those guys. And my mind was blown, you know, I'm like, okay, now this is where I feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a wonderful, warm teacher, gave me a lot of support and encouragement. And I think probably with him is where I got my feet on the ground and decided, okay, this is something I could do or move with. But
do you have any idea why he connected with you while the previous teacher sort of left you in the corner?
Well, because the previous teacher was talking conceptually, and my mind doesn't go there.
Well, no, that's on your end, but you said that he
Yeah.
would not address you, like he sort of
Yeah.
left you alone.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you have any idea why the first teacher left you alone and the other teacher sort of embraced you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he maybe saw that I was too mired in that realism, that maybe how he worked, how he addressed students maybe didn't apply. I don't know. I can't ask him. I don't know.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But all the other students that were, you know, kind of in his aura there, they were also very conceptually minded. Like we would have to put our work up and talk about it, right? And I couldn't think of any kind of deep, ethereal thing to say about my feet on the wall. You know, they were my feet on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there was no grand meaning behind it. You know, I didn't think that way. My mind just didn't work that way. So I felt like, oh my God, I don't know, I don't fit in. I don't have anything to say. And yeah, and that just weighed on my confidence terribly. So that's why this guy.
I love how humble you are about it. So, because I had a similar experience, except I'm sitting in the corner going, this is a bunch of BS. And you're sitting in the corner going, I don't understand it. I'm sitting in the corner going, they don't understand what's coming out of their mouth.
Yeah,
like, and that probably says more about how little character I have, but I love how humble you are about it, that you're so open-minded that you gave them the benefit of the doubt that they had something to give you. I kind of wish I was more like that in school.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Well, I think I'm getting better. But when I was in my 20s, it was like, oh my gosh, you're an idiot, you know? To my teachers. Not all. I didn't say it, but I thought it, you know?
I don't know what it was about me. I was just like, I don't know. Because my husband even talks about when he was young that he was a lot like you know, where authority figures.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. And I bowed down to authority figures back
Okay.
then. But I'm making up for lost time now because I'm not that way now. You got to age a little bit. At least I had to before I was able to. But anyway, so anyway, Jose Cintron, he sent me on the course, but I still wanted to go pursue illustration because, you know, my brother was painting illustrations. You know, all his work was oils, you know, and that was another education. 2.5 years of in the illustration department at that school was also very eye-opening. We had some really great teachers in the field that were also teaching. They were all illustrators in town, so they really put us through the paces with what it would be like if you were out there, because you know, like how demanding clients are, time frames and deadlines, and you know, your creative mind and how to do thumbnails and sketches and present to people, all this stuff that was very useful, you know. But also, you know, we had to go up and put our work up and, you know, show the class whatever assignment it was that we did. And and I was so bound and determined to be this painting illustrator. And I remember one of the illustrations were assignments. We had to choose like the class. You pick a classmate or whatever, and we had to put them into. I think it was some kind of. In one area of history. So I had the Civil War, and it was all random. We had to pick like things. So I had the Civil War, and I had my fellow classmate, okay, I had make him a Civil War soldier. And so I did all this research and put him in this outfit, and I put it up in the wall, and the guy goes, "This isn't artsy fartsy land, Kordic."
Wait. This isn't artsy fartsy?
Yeah, because he knew I was coming from painting to.
Was he was just teasing you then?
Yeah, he was teasing me like. And he knew my brother. You know, my brother was well known in Cleveland and stuff. And he goes, "This isn't for artsy fartsy land. What do you think this is?" You know, you know. Oh, okay. Now that's when I started thinking, all right, now you're full of it, because you know what, my brother's in artsy fartsy land and he's doing just fine. So, but over the course of the subsequent years, I realized he was teasing me a lot, but he was tough on me too, you know, like it was great, and threw me in the water of, well, this was another tangent maybe. The TV stations in town called one day looking for a courtroom artist, right? You know,
called the school.
No, actually, you know, when there's a trial,
yeah,
they cameras, yeah. So at the school, they called the school,
okay,
because they needed an illustrator that day, and so they called the school, and he gets off the phone. He goes, "Kordic, you're going to court," and I'm
what?
like, yeah, no,
that would be so hard.
I'm wearing my favorite lime green and denim striped pants with some kind of orange top. And he goes, go to the courthouse. You're going to meet Channel 8 or whatever it was. I'm like, what? What do I bring? What do I do? Just bring some pencils, paper. Like, here, just go.
Oh my gosh, I would have crapped my pants.
Oh, I was. And perhaps this was the trial of one of the I forgot his name. I'll think of it after this is over.
Was it a significant one we should all remember?
Jackie Presser.
I don't know that trial.
Well, anyway, it was some kind of.
I'll have to catch up on my Dateline episodes.
Mob guy, all this stuff.
Okay.
Right? And I'm in there, and it's packed. I don't know who I'm looking for, what I'm supposed to do. There's nowhere. I mean, there's nowhere to sit. The front is way over there, and I'm like, what am I doing? So I'm just barreling through these people, and I found a little corner, and I just start drawing. You know, I don't know. I'm supposed to draw. I'm drawing the whole thing. I'm drawing the judge, the background. I'm this person, the jury. I'm doing all this stuff, and then I get somebody tapping me on the shoulder, and he's the reporter I was supposed to find. He goes, "You don't have to draw anything."
just focus on the subject at hand. Okay.
So he told me who to focus on. That's the guy on trial. I had to put him out. oh, it's that guy. Okay. So, like, he's by like 2 o'clock today, and I'm like, oh my God. So at the lunch break, I go to the library and I'm like trying to like do something decent to hand in, because no one's posing for you. No one's sitting still. You got to somehow put this
To
together.
hand into the court, you mean?
To hand into the TV station.
Well, wait, so you had just your diorama, not diorama, your panorama of the whole court. And then you went after it was over and tried to take something from that and create images that were actually useful.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, I had to go back after lunch and zoom in on the actual guy.
Oh, so you did get some zoomed in drawings. Yeah. Okay.
But it's never at a good, like I was getting the back of his head,
right.
Like, so every time he turned, I had to like hurry up and try to get his features so that it kind of looked like him, because they're going to put it on the TV news and go, that's Jackie Presser. And I'm like, well, I better look like him, for God's sake. So, I do the.
This is a great story.
Oh, it was terrible. I was like completely drenched.
Was your name associated with it? Like, were you going to be?
They put my name on there.
They did put your name on there?
Yes, they did on the news thing, but it was only 3 minutes long, so that was good.
Okay. Can you find this on YouTube by any chance? Have you? Oh, how cool would that be to have this now?
Oh God, I'd be embarrassed.
Would you? No. That would be so great. I'm gonna dig for it tonight. I bet it's out there somewhere.
No.
Oh,
in fact, and into some of these drawings, and I was moving my studios, and I go, oh, no, these are going in the trash. I actually threw them away.
You did throw them away? That was my next question.
Yeah, I know. No, they're embarrassing. But I did it for 2 years.
So it became a job?
It was a freelance job, yeah. So
they must have been thrilled about it then. Why would they hire you?
I don't know. They were, because they didn't have enough people. So
you were too humble. Oh, man.
And then I got to befriended some of the other artists, and they were giving me tips, but they kept saying, don't use markers, because the judges get mad with the squeaking of the markers, because some of them use markers, and I saw color pencil and but anyway, yeah.
Don't use markers? I never would have thought that's bizarre. That's like using crayons, I guess. You come in with a whole Crayola set and start drawing. Anyway, I'm sorry. This whole thing sounds so funny to me.
It is. They were so afraid. And then I was so scared of these mob people. Because there were a couple of cases, and there was one guy that walked over to me. I'm like, oh my God, he's coming over to me. And he wanted to see the drawing. And,
really? You're like purposely getting not getting a likeness and winking at him like, don't worry, I'm not helping the case.
No. Yeah, it was scary, but it was okay. It worked out.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah. So then, I graduate with an illustration degree, and then
did you know you wanted to be a painter though when you're getting this illustration degree?
No.
Did you know anything? Did you have any life plan, or did you just know you wanted to do this art degree?
I wanted to be an illustrator.
That was your goal. Okay.
So 1985, I graduated with an illustration degree. I couldn't find a job right out of school, so I went to Europe.
Why?
Travel.
Oh, just for fun?
Just, backpacked, met a friend in Italy, and, we did that. Came back from that. Then I still didn't have a job. So then I went back to, and I had my portfolio, because back then you take your portfolio and you go to the creative agencies and you show your work.
Yeah.
There's all the styles I can do, I was trying to actually work at a studio, not go freelance right away, because I understood the fact that I needed more experience, right? So
how did you handle that as an introvert who was shy? How did you handle carrying a portfolio in and out of all these agencies?
Sweating bullets. It was terrible. So then I stopped after a while, and then I said, I'm going to go to Channel 8, see if they need anybody. So I went to a TV station and volunteered myself as an intern.
To work for free. Okay.
Yeah. No pay, but I hung out with the art department. And that was right when the computers started showing up. And they had one of the big ass ones. I don't know, it was like as big as a room. And they were just starting to do graphics on computer like doing the graphics on the news and all that stuff. And they say, you can go play with that computer. You know, you can. And I had no idea that when I was playing, the whole news, everybody was seeing what I was doing. So
Wait. Live?
yeah, like it was like on some kind of feed over.
Wait, I don't understand. You're just playing around on the computer and they're projecting it onto the TV?
No, not onto the news show, but somebody like in all the departments, like there's another camera that wasn't live.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's bizarre.
Yeah.
But wasn't it like in 1985, aren't you just typing in? Isn't it DOS at that point?
Yeah, it was something weird, but they had some kind of like color things, and I was just like making marks. It was nothing. It was just like learning how to push buttons. But they saw I was no good at that, so they just bring me off with the reporters to do more drawings and sketching, and I did that for a while. Then finally, one of the places I applied to called me as an illustrator to this. They called it art studios, but so you'd have your ad agency. Then the ad agencies would go look for the you know, whatever illustrators.
Clients? Oh,
yeah, they brought in.
They'd line up the clients with the illustrators.
Then they go looking for the designers or the illustrators to fulfill the jobs. And then so where I was, we were all the illustrators or designers, key liners. See that ages me. And it was this fun young group, and we were always busy. And so I got kind of labeled as the artsy fartsy one, right? So because I had this like loose line, and I couldn't straight lines to save my life. I couldn't use a ruler to save my life.
What?
Yeah, you know, like, because sometimes you get jobs that required straight lines, right? So I couldn't do those at all. And
What the heck?
so I developed the reputation of being a little left of center a little bit. That's okay. So in between the jobs, so we're in cubicles. In between each job, you know, I had a blank gray wall in my booth, and I had a red push pin right in the middle of it. So I would look at this red push pin and like clear my mind in between jobs, just so I could be like, okay, I'm ready.
Oh, we need more red push pins in the world instead of cell phones, you know? Just relax.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm ready now. And then, so that was a great experience for almost 2 years I was there. And then I decided, okay, now it's time for me to go freelance. And this was right when everybody again started whispering, the computers are coming. They're going to take all our work away. And then some of the guys were saying, you know what, you're going to have to learn how to use a computer. I'm like, I am not going to use a computer. So it became, do I learn how to use a computer and be like a designer, you know, that can do all the illustration too, or do I go somewhere else? So I go, you know what, I'm going somewhere else. And that's when I decided, okay, I got to try this art thing.
Fine art.
So,
but how did you know about fine art? I know that sounds like a stupid question, but I'm one of those people that literally didn't even know it existed until I was like 26.
Really? Now, how often were you going to museums? And
Never.
Not me.
There's
neither.
a huge proportion of this country, I think, that never stepped into an art museum or an art gallery and just thinks it's... I'll just tell you a quick story. This says it all. I have a buddy who's an artist. He's sitting in his house and he hired a contractor, and the contractor comes in, does all the work. My buddy's painting in his studio in the house, and the contractor comes in and says something like, I couldn't even believe he had the nerve to say this in this man's house. He says, man, I work my ass off every day and you just sit here and make pictures.
I've heard that too.
Like he genuinely didn't understand that this was his job. Like that he actually, and I think there's a huge population, my parents were part of it, that just didn't even know that was a feasible option, you know?
Right. I still run across that.
Yeah.
Oh, must be so nice to paint pictures all day. And I go, no.
No, it's the hardest thing in the world. I'd like to see you try it. Jeez Louise.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think after experiencing what I did at the art school and Mr. Cintron exposed me to these greats.
Oh,
and my
okay.
school directly across the street from the art museum. So I spent a
Oh,
lot. That's when I went to the art museum, and I just saw all, just all the work. But I was equally intrigued with like Diebenkorn, with some of the modernists, not all of them. I was just fascinated with their mark making, but I didn't know how to take that in because I was so ingrained in what is it? When you see an abstraction, what is it? It was always, my mind was going there, and I couldn't appreciate it at the time, to say it's a painting. That's what that is. It's a painting, and what feeling does that bring up in you? And I couldn't put that into words then. I do now, but not then. Anyway, I was down, where Sorolla was, where, post-impressionism was, all of that era. And that's how I wanted to paint, Monet. So I left the studio, and I had one illustration client that followed me. That was good money. And I go, okay, here's my bread and butter over here. And I was continuing to find work in town as an illustrator. And I was doing, my illustrations were watercolor, acrylic, pastel, like quick kind of loose things like that. So I could handle it. I could do those on the side. And then I decided I'm going to just see what I could do with this fine art stuff. So I.
And what year was this?
This was 1988.
Oh, this happened fast.
Yeah. And then, so I moved into the studio in Cleveland, or it was in Euclid, right near the Lake Erie. We live near Lake Erie. And I came in with a drawing table, like a drafting table, and my little pastels and, things like that. I had my oil paint, but I didn't know what to do with it at that point. So I started going to the lake and doing like landscapes of the shore and
plein air.
Plein air, then bringing them back and working them up. And I kind of developed a little mixed media type thing. I loved oil pastel, that chunky, oily, when I discovered them, like, oh my God, oil boards has been all my life. So I was combining the oil pastel with the paint, but the bad part was you had to put it under glass because that oil pastel is not oil, so it would smear. You couldn't just leave it open like you would. And this was way before oil sticks were ever invented. So I was doing these pretty large scale landscapes for a good while. And some figurative stuff. I had a friend that would pose for me, and she was having babies at the time. So I did a lot of mother and child things in that kind of mixed media thing. And there was an art consultant that would regularly walk through, because I was on the floor with a bunch of artists, and got to be friendly with those guys, and they were acquainted with this art consultant. And so she came around and liked my work and was able to place them in hospitals and different office buildings in town. So that encouraged me going,
So
okay.
wait, it's an art consultant. Is that like a dealer without a gallery? I haven't heard that before. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they exist now. They probably do, but
I've heard the term art rep or like art agent, but I haven't heard consultant. Okay.
Yeah. So she was somehow attached to these different corporations that would find art for their buildings, basically.
Right.
So that started me on that train for a while. And then let's see. Oh, and then I got married.
Okay.
Got pregnant. And then suddenly I couldn't, my illustration life was pretty much over because I couldn't meet any deadlines, with an infant and because usually you would get a job at 5 o'clock one night and they wanted it by 9 o'clock the next morning kind of thing,
Oh, geez.
A lot of times it was like that, so I'd be like, no, I can't do that now. Which was fine. I loved, being home with my son and being a mom. And
at that point, was your husband able to carry the load a little bit?
Oh yeah, he was good. Yeah, it's funny how that works. Both our incomes were necessary, but at different times, one or the other,
right.
rose you know, you would know too, being a family person, I'm sure, you know, how that goes. But yeah, he carried the load. And my parents, as Luke, my son, actually, there he is back there.
Yep.
When he was 3. As he got older, my parents would take him, you know, for a day or two so I could have time to work or, you know, get some stuff done uninterrupted. And then I said, well, I can't work this way with these deadlines anymore. I got to figure out something else. And then I remembered Mr. Cintron said, you could be a portrait artist. I'm like, I don't want to be a portrait artist. Back in school, I didn't want to do any of that. But then it dawned on me, well, maybe I should look into it. Because now that my time is more difficult to manage, I thought, okay, I'll do that. And that coincided, it was 1988, I think. And I thought, well, I need a portfolio of portraits. So I did a lot of I took people I knew and I dressed them up and then did real formal kind of portraits of them. And then I did a style that was like this one of Luke, where it was more contemporary. Right? So I thought, okay, give people a choice. Do you want this kind of thing or do you want the more traditional thing? And as luck would have it then, everybody wanted the more traditional style of portrait, right? So, and then that happened right around the time the computers did fully come on the scene, right? And one of my brother's friends offered to do my website.
So what date are we looking at now?
Now
90s, late 90s?
Late 90s, maybe 2000, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And he was trying to teach himself. He was also an illustrator that was trying to teach himself the computer. So he went that way. He goes, maybe, you know, I'll do your website. So he did this wonderful Flash. That was the program. I don't know if you
Oh my gosh. I spent $15,000 on a Flash website and it was obsolete in like 2 years.
Yes. But he did this beautiful website.
Yeah.
And it was these images flipping around, and it was called Alternative Portraiture. And because I remember deciding that name because it was an A. And when people would search the A's, there it would be. And it worked, actually. I got my very first client from far away Atlanta, coincidentally, another A, got a portrait commission that way, traveled there. And took all of my source references and wonderful family. And I did a mother and child portrait of them. And that just started my portrait career.
Do you have this portrait anywhere that we could see?
Yeah, actually, I do. So that started my portrait career that lasted, so that was what, 2008 until, 2008, 1998, 99, whatever it was, until the market crash, right? When was that?
02 or 08? It crashed twice. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had all these clients on my wait list completely canceled. So there goes there goes my portrait career.
Oh, man.
Here we go again.
Okay, I'm curious. What were you charging at that time?
I remember it being $3,500 for a head. Because remember, I don't know if you do it this way, but back then I couldn't, you know, how you couldn't decide how to price things, but I followed advice, you know, Head and Shoulders, 3/4 full length.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the 3,500 was.
That's not cheap. The reason I ask is because one thing that seemed apparent at the time, it wasn't across the board. There obviously is going to be some variation. Yeah. But during 08, it seemed like people that had above a certain price point didn't sink in 08, but if you're below a certain price point, you did. Yeah. And it felt like the rich just can't. The really, really rich were still buying art, but the sort of moderately wealthy were like, whoa, we got to protect our assets. Things are falling apart.
Yeah, yeah.
That's sort of what I noticed, and that's why I was wondering what your prices were at the time. So that does sort of fit the narrative, at least, that you were kind of right at that point where they're moderately wealthy were buying your work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it really left me in like, you know, now what kind of thing? Because that was my only source of income because I wasn't doing any of my own personal work, whatever it was just commissions. It was
How long did that last?
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, I mean, you have the ability to talk to him once a week and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. It's just like all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 and my time is limited and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
good 10 years, probably.
No. The recession problem.
Oh,
2
yeah.
years, 3 years,
Yeah, 2 years. So
2 years.
how did it go? Yeah, I came out and I looked at the computer and I go, okay, what's going on with the art world? And I think I just looked up figurative art, like searched, and up came like Jeremy Lipking.
Oh,
and
sure.
And I saw his work and it just blew my mind. And I said, what the, you mean this has been going on the whole time I've been doing portraits? Because I thought when I entered portraiture, I didn't think figurative
Well, you
art
hadn't heard of Jeremy Lipking until after the recession?
Oh, no, because I was in this bubble. I was
Yeah, you were.
I was so busy and I just
Holy cow.
I wasn't looking around, because I had enough work. I was
Right.
But had I known that figuration and that kind of work was viable, commercially, that people were just doing work and selling them through galleries or whatever, I think I may have veered into those waters a little sooner, or I don't know, at least tried.
Mm-hmm.
But when it just like thought, oh my gosh, this is great. The world changed again. So now here I go again, coming up with a body of work that was figurative and, grabbing models. I have this poor girl. She was such a trooper. I used her several times, but I go, I need you to go into the water, so I drag her to this park and we have these waterfalls. I'm like, go in, just go in. What she just did. She'd go in the water. So I'm taking all these photos of her in the water. I'm like, oh, the poor kid. And then I would tromp her through the snow. I took her all over the place, and she was such a trooper. And I all respect Erica, because
Oh my gosh.
she really worked hard for me for a number of years. But anyway, I build this body of work, and then I go, all right, now what do I do with it? Because now it's like, I don't know who to show. There's no one in Cleveland that does this kind of work, really. Very few, because Cleveland was more still a conceptually driven art scene. So that's when I started exploring like competitions, more national competitions and things like that, and just decided to enter these competitions and see what would happen. And I got into a few, and then that just started the train of, okay, I'm getting noticed out of Cleveland and that kind of thing. And then, that worked for a while. And then 2009, 10, 11, I was asked to show, excuse me, in Cleveland at this little gallery. They offered a solo show for me, and I put up work then. And they were pretty large scale, like 40 by 50. And that's when I started noticing my work starting to change a little bit, like away from realism. unbeknownst to me, like not intentionally, it just seemed
Mm-hmm.
like stuff was happening. Like
And that's how it
oh,
should be, organic.
it was like, it was more like I was curious, first of all, about paint. And that's when I started, the little rebel mind started going. I'm like, well, why do I have to use a brush all the time? Like I was acting like this little kid. I don't want to use a brush.
Really?
It was just like how do I say leaves without painting leaves or using a brush to paint leaves? Like, because I was putting figures in the landscape, but so two things were happening. I didn't want it to be, here's the figure, and then there's
That's the hard part. Yeah.
I kept saying, well, why do I have to separate the figure? I don't know who I was telling. I was talking to myself. Why do I have to separate the figure from the landscape? Why can't the hair go up into the clouds like that?
Yeah.
So that's when I started talking to myself a lot and started marching around looking for like a bigger brush. First of all, my biggest brush at the time was maybe an inch. So I started rummaging, found my gesso brush. I'm using my gesso brush. I don't care if I said it was a gesso
Where do you
brush.
think that comes from? This I don't even know how to describe it. I can't even think of an adjective, but this this curiosity about making a leaf without painting a leaf.
I don't know. It's almost like how you were describing, you were judging your teachers in your 20s.
Yeah.
I was judging the whole thing about painting. At that time, I was in my 30s and 40s. You know, it was like a latent kind of welling up of my true self,
Right.
for a better term. You know, like all these years I was so quiet and shy and listening, and little by little that shell was starting to break.
Do you think parenting had anything to do with that shift in your mentality?
Wait, me? Oh, me being like a parent?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Maybe because my son, I have two boys, my stepson, and it seemed like he'd like to draw more than my actual son.
Mm-hmm.
They're both my sons. But Luke was very cerebral. And he was the kind of kid that was always asking questions and wanted
Luke
to
is your
know
biological son?
Yeah.
Okay.
why, and he outgrew my brain when he was probably 4.5. You know, I couldn't supply the answers to his questions. But his curiosity about things, I think, really did have a lot to do with my own curiosity. Because he just had this openness about the world that I didn't have at the time. So maybe that did. I mean, I'm just thinking that now. But John was, you know, it seemed like he was more into artistic things than Luke. So watching him actually be the one, you know, doing the drawing, and then Luke questioning, and I don't know, there was a lot going on at the same time, you know, juggling all that. So
Yeah.
I don't know, my brain just did
It's hard to know how we end up how we do. I was just curious if you'd thought about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Thanks for bringing that up. I never thought about it that way. But okay, I lost my train of thought again.
I'm sorry. I keep throwing you off. The last thing you were talking about was just the frustration and how you wanted to get the biggest brush possible. You got your gesso brush.
Yeah. So that blew my mind when I put the hair up into the clouds. I thought, yes. So I was starting to lose edges that way.
Yeah.
And so little by little, with that mind, like breaking like a rule kind of thing, more and more things started breaking as far as the rules, like in my mind, like why can't, it was always this why can't I have a tangent? Why can't I put something right in the middle? Why can't I have a field of color instead of everything about it being rendered, you know?
Okay, here's another question. Sorry to keep cutting you off, but you're very interesting. And I don't want to, the problem is if I don't ask the question now, it'll disappear. So, because you'll get off the topic and then we'll be somewhere else. So now I forgot the question explaining why I'm asking the question. I remember now. So now I'm this way, so I'm not asking because I'm curious for myself, but I'm interested if we share it, really. but you clearly, well, it seems clear to me that you're not concerned about the financial repercussions of these experiments, because earlier people made it very clear to you that they wanted more representational stuff, at least as portrait, at least when they're collecting a portrait from you. So it must have crossed your mind that the experiments you're doing may not pay off. Right?
Yeah.
So how did you cope with that? Or did it not cross your mind?
Well, it honestly, because I hadn't, I separated myself from portraiture at this point. I left the scene. Basically, I took very few commissions after that time.
Yeah, but were you selling these paintings, these more abstract, ethereal paintings?
Well, not right away.
That's what I'm saying. So you must have been thinking, well, it must have occurred to you, well, in the portrait world, they want traditional. So they want traditional in the painting world? Or did you not think that?
I didn't think that, because at the time, after the portraiture left the scene, I started teaching a little bit.
Okay.
The workshop circuit, kind of. And I was in the midst of still fine-tuning this process I was coming upon.
Right.
And I think my first workshop may have been 2013, 14. I don't know, I'm losing time. But at that same place where my first show was. So these people are work and wanting to know how to do it, basically. So I had to come up with a streamlined version of that, because none of that work was instantaneous. Even then, and I work a lot slower now, but even then, it's like, it took time.
Oh, there's a lot of layers in your work. I can't imagine.
Yeah, terrible amount of layers that are not linear. None of this process was ever
or predictable. Linear. Yeah.
So it was hard for me to figure out a way to teach it. And
Can you teach it, really?
No.
Okay, thanks. I didn't think so. So you discovered it can't be done.
Well, no.
Wait, but what's the connection between teaching and not being concerned about the financial repercussions of this shift?
Because I got paid to teach.
Oh, so you had a cushion. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And the people that came to my workshop saw what it took, or loved my work enough. Those became my collectors, and to this day,
oh, awesome!
I have a very lovely group of people that continue to support my work, and thank you, God, for for them being around. Because sometimes,
so are you not even represented by a gallery?
I am now. Yeah.
Which gallery is that?
Stanka Gallery, Miami.
Okay.
They also have a presence in Philadelphia. But I met them in Philadelphia when they had just the Philadelphia gallery, So in the middle of all this experimenting, my work being seen more, I was invited to do the Disrupted Realism show. That's what they called it.
That's a good name. I like that.
2018.
Okay.
John Seed was spearheading it, and he subsequently did a book, and I was included in this book, and it was like this whole thing for a while. I think it still is. I mean, there's a lot of artists that are doing this kind of abstraction and different. Here's me pushing stuff around,
right?
Losing realism, and the whole premise of it. Most of us were brought up in traditional realism, then we've moved a little bit from it, or a lot of it, into something else, something that maybe talked about the distracted world we live in, or distracted lives where straight up realism wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that people were doing singularly, apart from like really knowing everybody was doing this, and they took on very individualized sort of looks, depending on the person. And that's exactly how it happened to me. Like piece by piece, the things that shifted and changed were not predictable, as you say. Like I didn't say, here's when I take this tool and do that.
Yeah.
It all depends. So yeah, going back to the teaching part, there are people that took to it very well and understood that the intuitive process has to start from your mind already being mostly intuitive, not just at the easel, but everywhere in your life. And those painters that were a little more needing a more linear direction and steps had a harder time with it. But that's something they could always play with as they go on, you know, like you could be given like a brayer or a squeegee or whatever, and play with that on your own time. Like, you know, like I would suggest all these tools to have and to bring with you, but it was scary for people. And I would come along on their piece and go, well, just take that brayer and just, you know, go up. And they'd be like, ah, you know, I got here, let's see, you know, okay, now what? You know, then that part of it was what was very hard when you say, now what? Because, you know, they couldn't get beyond my face. That face just got wiped off.
So you would literally do that to people's stuff in your workshop?
With permission.
Well, obviously, yeah. Gosh.
My own work. I would do it on my own demo.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same thing. I just do it, I'll completely repaint something for them.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same thing. It's just not quite as dramatic,
yeah,
you know, because you do it all in one swipe, done.
Yeah. Well, and again, it depends on what that painting needed.
Right.
And it's all a matter about that painting. Each painting needed something different. And like, I wouldn't lay out, like my choice of colors I suggested for the workshop were very limited. And it wouldn't be like, here, squirt out all the colors. Just put out what you need for this painting, you know, and that's how it kind of worked today. I don't squirt out all the colors anymore because so much was wasted. Every painting needed something different. So I wouldn't, why waste all those colors?
Oh my gosh. Do you realize I'm 51 years old and I just started doing that last year?
Really?
I'm like, why am I throwing away so much paint? I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm slow. I'm a slow learner.
Hey, as long as you're learning. That's, yeah. That's so anyway, I continue to do that. I mean, I don't teach anymore, but
you don't do workshops at all?
No.
Did you get frustrated with not being able to teach what you do?
I was frustrated more with myself about it. Okay.
But when I say not be able to teach what you do, I mean doing something that's impossible to teach. That's a better way of phrasing it. Because the other way sounds like you have a problem. It's more like your work presents challenges that are not conquerable, you know? Yeah.
Well, it was a couple of things. Okay. Backtrack a little bit. I became artist in residence at a high school in 1991 through my high school art teacher. So I had a studio space in this high school. My change for that studio would be, I became like a mentor to these girls. So I introduced them to oil painting, working from life, portraiture, some figurative work. So Sister Lucia and I worked together like with her group of people. So I was there for almost 30 years until COVID, 29 years, teaching beginners essentially, but still teaching. And then I, whatever, in between all that, I was doing the adults, you know, so I literally became a little burned out by teaching, honestly. And going back to my personality, figuring out, you know, kind of person I am, you know, this introvert, knowing my limits, I felt tapped out, and I still do. I feel that way now. I just feel like, when is the time I am completely like with the work in a way that I feel is going to move this work forward or bring something to the world that other people can resonate with, you know, with my full attention. And that's really only just happened recently. So, you know, here I am in my 60s, finally, you know, doing the kind of excavating with my work process and my personhood and how I paint and who I paint or what I paint and all that stuff, all that language. Now, it's taken me all these years of learning. I'm still learning. And that's what keeps me going, because this process has allowed me to be continually challenged, to be continually learning, because each painting is its own painting. Like you know, I don't want to say its own person, but you know what I mean? Like they're so individual.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do the same thing in the same order on each one. And they all, when you put them all together, they all look completely different from each other. So, and I like that. For a long time, it bothered me that I didn't have this, I don't know, signature work or like a branded look kind of thing beyond it's a single
Wait, you
thing.
know that you do now, right?
Well, I guess so, but at the same time, I think, well, it's like I don't use the same colors. I don't
No,
use
oh my gosh. If yours is in signature, no one's is.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I
it's
can't
funny
do-
how blind we are to our own work.
I don't know. I'm so insecure. What's wrong with me?
No, everyone's that way. I mean, I've had people say that about me too, and I'm like, huh? I mean, it's hard to judge your own work.
Well, we're all our worst enemies in a
Yeah.
way, because you're in. I often talk about that middle period of each painting where in the beginning I'm very excited. Okay, here we go. Then that middle period where it's like, holy cow, you know, the drama, the hair pulling, I am no good and I'm going to throw this over the edge. I'm going to burn it because they're all wood. And, you know, all this stuff goes on, all this drama. And then I find it, you know, then it's like, oh, there you are. God, couldn't you just said something sooner? And I do all this kind of talking to myself, you know.
Yeah.
Really...
Have you ever been treated for the schizophrenia, or you just embrace it?
I fall face now on a regular basis.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I never would have predicted, you know, way back in my 20s when I never thought I would be a fine artist, because I knew back then that they all starve, you know, but I'm not starving, believe me. But it's just it just took on this path that I never predicted, but that's the beauty of it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this is okay. I got one more question, then I want to look at your work. What is your day-to-day like now that I'm assuming your kids are both grown?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so how do you spend your days as an artist?
I'm very structured. I work. Okay, first of all, this is my house. My studio's 12 houses down. No internet there.
12 houses down? You bought another house as a studio?
Yes.
Amazing. That's an inspiration.
Yeah, it's my husband's childhood home. It's a nice little Cape Cod. It's got this beautiful woods in the back.
That sounds amazing. Wait, where do you live?
It's Northeast Ohio.
Okay, I didn't realize they had Cape Cod architecture in Ohio.
Yeah, it's just like a very quiet, lovely. He's lived here his whole life. So it's just like, you know, I've lived here since I've been married to him. So what, over 30 years. So yeah, it's just like I could walk down, I take my scooter too, you know, so I got a little reputation. There she goes on her scooter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't tell me what your schedule was though. So you get up in the morning. Okay.
Yeah, I get up super early. I have a workout. It's either yoga or some kind of exercise, resistance training, something first thing. And 5 days a week I'm down there by 9 o'clock, 9:30. And I work till 4:30, 5. And weekends are off. I do chores. So 5 days, it's like a job. So basically 40 hours a week or so down there. And I show up whether I feel like working or not. You know, how they say about the muse, I forget how those words go. And whether I have painting, I always have something underway. It's either one, I'm working on 2 or 1 to 3 pieces at the same time. Lately, it's been, I get real tunnel visioned on one, and I just like them on one. And yeah, multiple layers. And I spend a great deal of time looking at them and destroying them when I'm not happy. I have no problem with destroying them and then starting all over. Excuse me. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a very structured. I'm structured in all kinds of ways, except at the easel where I'm not. And I think it's of having a fairly structured life versus that creative. Like I don't wait for inspiration. Basically, I just go. You know, And sometimes my go time is like, I don't know what to do. Let me just put lime green or orange on this painting and see what happens. And it's like that. Like, I don't think about it. I can't. Oh, yeah. I am not one of these planners. Like, here's my painting. Here's my thumbnail. Here's my color study. No, the color study and the sketch are all on the panel and they just change constantly. So,
But you must start with some reference or something.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not made up. I have reference. I
Right.
have
But the reference obviously looks nothing like the painting.
Right.
So you just start with the reference unedited. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
You just have a head or a figure?
Yeah, head or a figure, and I draw it right on with my charcoal. Usually it's just fine charcoal, just getting the gesture down. And yeah, and I lose no matter, I think after all these years of painting a likeness, the end result of my piece never will look like the reference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just change. I mean, not because there's anything wrong with, you know what I mean? It's just like the essence of the painting. It's about the painting and not the figure is very instrumental. It's about the gesture. I'm into hands a lot too. So sometimes I find myself with the hand positions, they're almost like mudras or something. They're not really, but that's the inspiration and the spirit of that person certainly drives it. But I don't like to be totally diverted from the tapestry of both. You know, the paint quality, the marks, the rhythm is also big for me. You know, how that paint moves. You know, where's the texture? Where's the quiet? Where's the line? You know, the mood. All that happens at the same time, but you know, all of that is going on in my brain too. You know what I mean? And it's not, I can't pinpoint what happens first or second, or that's part of what was hard to teach because people wanted to know those answers, you know, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Or even like, what colors are you mixing? I'm like,
oh, I hate that question.
Yeah. This one, that one, and that one.
You know what that feels like? You know what that's like to me? I use this analogy a lot during, I mean, no judgment to the students who ask it. It's a reasonable question, but it's awful for the instructor because it's like asking a pianist, a professional pianist, right in the middle of a song, whoa, what key did you just press?
Right.
It's like, what? I wasn't... I get, what key are you? Wait, when? What? I don't even understand the question.
What time was it?
Exactly. Give me the exact second. It's almost an impossible question to answer.
So you work in layers as well.
I do, yeah.
So how do you teach that in a workshop setting?
I not to the level that you do, I'm sure, because yours is even more intuitive. But I do, when I'm painting flesh tones, it is very, very intuitive because I'm not copying. I'm not copying, even if I'm working from life, I'm not copying.
Yeah.
I am after the likeness. Likeness is important to me, but I'm not copying the skin, the colors, the textures. And so it's hard to teach. All I do is demonstrate it and say, all right, go for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's more to it than that because there are principles. There are lots of principles involved in just simply drawing and painting, capturing the light, understanding the light logic, understanding form, all that stuff goes into it. So there's a lot to teach. But when it comes to them painting like me, if they don't have that intuition, it generally doesn't look like my work.
Yeah.
Right. Which is probably what you're experiencing.
Yeah. And like the other thing I remember bringing up to people that I don't know how well it went over. I said, none of this has to make any sense. Your painting doesn't have to make any sense in reality.
Yeah.
Like for me, that went out too. Like this light source, like I used to be about, you know, I was doing portraits. Well, it's got to be the warm light over here. And, you know, the classical lighting over here. And it's got to match what's happening in the body and all this. Like, oh, all of that's out the window. I don't care if it makes any sense. This light goes this way, that one goes that way. It's this color, that color there. You know, sometimes I think, are there any rules?
Not in your work, which is awesome.
fat over lean is the only rule I continue to follow because I do
Oh,
want
fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Everything.
materials have rules, but
Yeah.
not aesthetics.
No, because I'm working from, and this might sound woohooey or from this area, not to say that people who do portraits aren't, you know what I mean? I don't want to I don't know.
Just say it. Just do it. And if it's offensive, we'll blame it on one of your other personalities that talk to you all the time. So just let it out. This is not Stanka talking.
No,
This is
really,
Vladimiria, like her.
oh man,
Oh, shoot.
I've experienced that people. Never mind. Okay, I lost my train of thought again.
You were going to confess something. You were going to make a judgment about traditional painters.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to make a judgment. Because
Is it just me or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to vasaricolors.com and order yourself some for your next painting.
I came from that. That's my background. We're all so different. And see, this is the thing that I really did try to get across to students is that it is important, very important to learn the basics, to learn tradition, to learn all the rules so that when you get to be my old age, you can pick and choose which ones to keep, which ones to let go of, and which ones truly speak to you and for you through the work. And it's all going to be different. It's like that, how they say the candy store, you pick, and it's so wonderful to have choices. It's just, this is what I love about oil paint, and why I let go of all the other mediums that I used. And pretty much, I mean, I still will dabble in things, but oil paint, the quality of oil paint is so fascinating to me. It can look like watercolor. It can look like acrylic. It can look like all these things if you add medium to it and make it thick and full bodied, and or use the line or washi. And that was, I had all these trick bags as I was growing up where I thought you could only be a painterly painter if you use a lot of paint. And I thought, really? Now in my old age, really? Is that really true? What about 10,000 layers? So I'm more in line with the 10,000 layers now where,
But you do use a lot of paint in some cases.
Yeah, in some cases, yeah, but not all the cases.
Okay.
Because I was chasing Soroya. I wanted that.
We're all chasing Soroya.
Yeah, or the the poopy thing until I realized that's not me. That's him.
Yeah.
Where's me in that equation? And me is, I like the thinner paint. Or now if a painting doesn't want to be thick, I'm pulling it apart. I'm dragging it over here. And, literally, with the tool or something, or my hands are constantly in the paint now. So
wait a minute, how do you keep your nails so clean and stuff?
well, they're not clean.
Oh, okay.
They are short. They're certainly not manicured.
My hands are always filthy.
Yeah. I only put the gloves on when I'm using the toxic stuff, the lead or any cadmiums. But now, the earth colors, I'm not worried about. I have wipes right there. I clean them up.
Okay, before we move into the art, I got one more follow-up question on your daily routine. You're only leaving yourself 5 days to work, but you got to do like business stuff and accounting and talking to galleries. And how do you manage that during that precious 5-day painting schedule?
Well, in the morning, after I do my exercise, whatever, I'll have my coffee, and that's when I check email and
Okay.
take care of whatever needs to, the bills and all that stuff I do, they don't come up that often, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I designate weekend, like a
Oh,
weekend,
okay.
to take care of that, but it's not usually on the daily, or, the gallery takes care of, whatever.
That's right. I forget you're in a gallery.
Yeah.
That makes that part of life simpler.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
forgot about that.
Right? Oh,
I've been in a
yeah.
gallery in 15 years, and I remember those days. It was like people would always say, "You're so good at marketing." I'm like, all I do is paint. It's
Well,
not that way anymore. It's like a lot of work.
longer?
What's that?
You're not no longer with the gallery
No,
then?
I haven't been in at least 15 years. No, I left the gallery before the 2008 recession, coincidentally, because I took a sabbatical literally weeks before the market crashed. I
Wow.
decided I wanted to take a couple years to retrain myself to
Wow.
paint more like, I was shooting for painting more like Rembrandt. So I dodged, I mean, you could say I dodged that whole 2008 period because I would have been living on savings anyway. I planned on it, and it was just a fluke.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
you have inner knowing, you knew it was coming.
Maybe,
Yep.
I don't know, but I got lucky in that area.
Wow, Rembrandt. I would, well, you've changed. You've become a colorist. Your
Well,
work
in
is
my
just,
biblical paintings, it's much more tonal.
yeah.
I still use a lot of color, but it's subtle. It's I mean, I'm not looking to be Rembrandt, but he was the
I know.
guy. He was the guy that I was really looking at when I was in that sabbatical.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I find myself looking at them again a lot more recently because my ivory black has showed up on my palette a lot, and a lot of the tonal colors, and I kept thinking they lied about black.
they sure did. I got the same thing in school. Black is a
Yeah.
really good color. Well, if it's
Yeah.
not used incorrectly, well, there are no
Yeah.
rules. Like you said, there are no rules. But it
Yeah.
can muddy up a painting if you don't use it as a blue,
Yes. Right.
right?
Yeah.
You just darken everything with black. That's the kind of the go-to for people who are untrained. Is I'll make
Yeah.
it darker, add black.
Yeah. Right. But now I just love that dustiness about it.
Oh, and
That I-
glazing with it, it's such a
Yeah.
neutral glaze
Yes.
because it doesn't push it to blue or to red or to yellow. It just sort of pushes it back, just neutralizes it.
Right.
I love
So
it.
you glaze too.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
That's another old skill that I don't think a lot of people use enough, because it's got that beautiful thing with the impasto.
Oh
like those-
yeah, sitting in all the crevices.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
gives it character.
Right. I love to glaze. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now that we're talking about materials, first of all, are any of your works even available on your website? And I'll tell you why, because I am freaking dying over this painting.
Oh yeah, that one's sold.
Oh God, I would have killed on
Thank
that. I
Yeah.
love this painting. I love what you did with the pink and the little scribble with whatever tool, back of your brush or whatever it was.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
so
you.
dumb. Artists are so weird getting excited about a stupid little scribble. Did you see the
Yeah.
scribble? It's
I
just
know.
remarkable.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
But
Thank
it's
you.
so beautiful, and her face is just hauntingly beautiful.
Thanks. Thank you.
Dang it, man. Yeah, I want to get one of your paintings one of these days.
Okay.
That would be amazing. So let's talk a little bit. I know it can't be taught, but I'd like to think that I can follow you a little bit. So tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about your general process, like some of the tools you use. And let me actually ask some specific questions from what I'm observing. Do you ever douse your paintings in solvent just to let them melt?
Yes.
I had a feeling. Okay. I tried that years ago, and it makes some beautiful effects,
Yeah.
but I
But-
never
and-
stuck with it because I had an irritant-induced asthma.
Oh, but it wasn't done. I'll tell you the context.
Okay.
It only happens when I am so pissed off, and I'm so
Yeah, that's when
annoyed
I would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm going, this one's over. And where's the solvent? And then I wipe it all off.
I put it in a spray bottle for a while,
Oh,
and I
that's-
misted the painting and just let it drip. And it did some really cool things, but I couldn't breathe it. I was just It's really,
Oh,
it's terrible you don't want to atomize
yeah.
solvents.
Yeah. I usually do it outside or in the
Yeah.
basement somewhere, but yeah, it does happen quite a bit.
So on
'Cause
this one, you were talking about how thin you paint. And it really is quite thin, except right through here.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that one used a lot of fingers. Um, yeah, that one I did on clay board. I don't know if you're familiar with clay board. It's
Isn't that the watercolorists often use? Or
yeah,
is
yeah. But it worked similarly to like fresco to me. Not that I ever worked on
is it absorbent? Super
it's
absorbent?
very see, I like absorbent surfaces.
Oh, dude, you gotta try this then.
Okay.
Well, you might not like it, but try ABS plastic.
Wow. I never heard
Never
of it.
heard of it?
No.
Jeez, I got it from Bill Whitaker. A lot of people in Utah are using it because Bill Whitaker was sort of the godfather of painting here for a while. But
Wow.
you can buy it at a plastics manufacturer, like a sign shop, something like that. There's a place here in Utah that, yeah, sells materials to sign makers, all kinds of plastics. And they'll sell it by the 4x8 sheet, and I buy it at 1/8 thick. And then all you have to do is the one side is kind of like bumpy, sort of like that old school industrial backsplash texture, that kind of bumpy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the front side is just glassy smooth. And all you got to do is sand it with 150 grit.
Yeah.
And then when you paint on it, it sucks the paint out of your brush like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Now, I don't like that about it, but
Yeah.
because I want to get thick paint and build up lots of layers and with thick impasto, but I work through that. As soon as the first layer is done, because I paint so thick, that absorption is gone.
Yeah.
But for
yeah.
you'd probably eat it up. Like I bet you'd love it. And it's cheap,
Okay.
cheap. Like
And
you can buy a whole sheet, 4x8 sheet for like $25, I think.
oh, you're kidding. And do they ship everywhere? Or is that something you can get
Well, do you live near a major city or?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something nearby and they might
Okay.
ship, but it's going to be more expensive if it's shipped, obviously.
Yes, you said it.
ABS.
Okay. I can remember that.
Yeah, ABS. Well, you can always watch back on the podcast. We're at
Yeah.
minute 131. Put it in
Okay.
your notes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you might love it and it might save you a fortune because, I mean, I just have stacks and stacks of this stuff and I just cut it out when I want a painting size and go to town.
So then how do you mount it? Or
Oh, you can just use like construction adhesive or Gorilla Glue to stretcher bars or to a frame or something. But what I usually do is I take either, depending on the scale, if it's just 16 by 20, you don't need to mount it. It's rigid enough. But if it's if I get to like bigger than 24 by 18 by 24, then I'll start mounting it. At that size, I'll mount it to something like Gator board with Gorilla Glue.
okay.
And it'll last it's never going to come off. But then
Wow.
I've done big ones like 5 feet by 4 feet.
Yeah.
Obviously, your minimum you have to start putting them together if you go bigger than 4 feet on one side because it's only 4x8 sheets.
Yeah.
But then I mount it to that pink insulation foam that you put in your home.
Were you kidding?
No, like the
Wow.
2-inch stuff you get at Home Depot. I'll just
Yeah.
Gorilla Glue it right to that.
Wow.
And then it's really lightweight and
Oh.
really rigid. And then you
Yeah.
just frame it and you'll never see the foam.
Oh, that's so smart.
It works so great.
I gotta try that.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know if you like it. But it's so
Yeah.
unbelievably absorbent. To me, it's annoying in that first layer. But to you, you probably
Yeah.
love it if you love that
Yeah.
absorbency.
Well, yeah, I do because it helps speed up the process a little bit for me, because sometimes that first layer, because I use solvent for that first layer,
Yeah.
takes forever to dry and I'm like anxious to get moving. But yeah, I like how that just soaks up. But that one, yeah, I mean, it just went a little quicker because of that. And it had like, I use my hands a lot on it too, especially in that dress, I just smeared it with my hands and it made like a
Really?
funny kind of pattern. Like, I don't know, because it was drying up so fast. It was literally like drying up as I was moving it along. Like, oh, okay, I guess she's gonna have a pattern dress, instead of deciding that I'm gonna, a lot of times,
So are you just, all right, how do I phrase this question? So are you going, well, two questions. One is more technical and an easy answer. When you draw it in charcoal, are you fixing it first with some sort of fixative?
no, it's
So
just,
if you start going nuts with all kinds of materials, you're going to lose your drawing.
yeah, it's
And then you
okay.
just redraw with paint.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just keep trying. I'm always losing the drawing.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because you would almost have to paint that. You couldn't have a precious drawing and paint like you.
Oh, there's nothing precious ever.
Yeah. So then when you start going into adding color,
Mm.
and like with the dress, it was one of the first things you did, I'm assuming, because it's a wash,
Yeah,
mostly a wash.
yeah.
Is it just like sort of a candid, random choice? Today I don't really have intention. I'm just gonna rub and punch and hit and brush and roll and palette knife until something happens that is magical.
Yes,
That's the
sorry.
process.
That's the process.
No, that's great. That's fun. That sounds simultaneously thrilling and fun, but also terribly scary
Yeah,
and frustrating.
yeah. It's all of it. I know. And I keep saying in the middle of all the angst, why didn't you just do a thumbnail or, I do all that stuff.
But you
like,
can't because it's all in the
No.
unpredictability, right?
And even my husband will, like, I'll come home with a look on my face. He goes, did you just change it all again? I'm like, yeah. It's just, and he goes, you just want to punish yourself. I'm like, well, I think that's part of the process.
For you, it clearly is. I don't see any other way of doing it, which is why it's not teachable.
Well, it's just, I don't know why I'm this way. And, but I think in the end, it's going to keep me alive longer, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, assuming you're not eating your
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah. Or my brain might be working better longer. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's just like I am constant. It's like I am so in the moment of that. There is no checking out. There's no checking out at any time of these paintings because I have to be paying attention to what is happening here. And that's exactly what I'll shout into the room. What is going on here? And it can be as dramatic as that. And there's all these conflicting feelings like, why? But then in the end, I go, that's why. Because it had to be that way to get to this point right here where I say it's done. I'm putting it in the other room.
When you finish a painting, do you live with it for a while before shipping it so that you know that you feel good about it?
Yeah, because now this past year especially, I have to not even put the solvent, like a varnish, on it for a while because I might change my mind again.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, especially with your process because there's no definitive end.
Yeah, and it's basically where it ends is, because it is a conversation, as like with this painting, right? You and this painting, and it's always about, and with the face and the likeness, I'm always going, who are you? Who are you right now? And I'm always looking for the endpoint of that face, like what's it going to look like, and it's just all this feeling. It's all about the feeling of it being right, not based on the photo or my original inspiration. All these things change on a whim, but it all settles down to this feeling like, okay, it's done. And it's almost like a peace or knowing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like it's not cerebral necessarily. Yeah, all the things might be in place with, is it balanced? How is it designed? Whatever, but it's like this other ephemeral kind of thing where I'm looking for that, because this is why when I post on social media, I have to show just a detail of my process because I work so slowly that I can't even put it takes me forever to finish a painting. So whenever if I would ever do like a work in progress total thing, you're always getting people saying, "Oh, it's done, it's done." I don't know when it's done, and you're not going to tell me when it's done.
You seem like a really pleasant person to live with, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, so this this is what I'm wondering. This literally just happened yesterday. I call my wife up. It's like 6 o'clock. I'm anxious to go home and get something to eat. I haven't eaten since 10 a.m. And I'm like, well, it's 6 o'clock. I'm at a good point where I can stop in an hour. And then next thing you know, something happens that I just can't go home. Like
Yeah.
I screwed something up, or in this particular case, I don't even remember what it was. It just happened yesterday. And I don't even remember, but I do remember that next thing you know, it's 8:30 when I'm locking the door and leaving the studio. Right.
Yeah.
And that's part of the setup for the question. The other thing that happens is I have to go home because it's literally so late. And I might as well, I'll work through the night and into the next morning, and I can't do that. That's unreasonable. So I have to go home and just hate where I left the thing I'm working on, the painting or whatever it is. And then I'm just miserable until I can come back in the morning and resolve what I had screwed up. That's got to happen to you all the time. One of those two things has to happen to you.
Yeah.
Do you
It does.
really? Because you must just have some days you go home on a high and other days where you're like, all I can think about is this painting. It looks terrible right now. I got to get back to work.
Yeah. Well, that's when he says, "Did you just wipe it off?" Like when I come home.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So how do you cope with that? Is there any way
Well-
for you to manage your emotions in those situations? Because they must
Well,
happen all the time.
Yeah. Well, the way I manage my emotions is that they're all in the painting somehow.
Yeah.
But I accept it as part of the process, but B, I need that time away from it. When I am that angry or frustrated, or I don't like how it's going, I know myself enough to know I go, get out of here.
And you
Just
can
go.
can you turn it off, the
Yeah,
frustration?
I have to. Yeah. Well, I walk, I do something physical to get
Oh, that's
my-
great. I still
get-
struggle turning it off, to getting
Yeah,
my
you-
head back out of it.
yeah.
I
yeah,
physically leave, but my head's still there.
Yeah. No, I get how that happens. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just, for me, it has to be like some kind of physical shedding where, I just have to walk fast or do something.
Did you figure that out as time went on, or have you always been able to shed that?
No. That was the other thing sometimes with commissions that I had such difficulty with. Sometimes when they weren't going well, or like, clients weren't happy with whatever. It was very difficult for me to try to see the painting in their eyes.
Yeah.
How do you, like, okay, you work with commissions. How do you separate, or do you how I had difficulty pleasing people, you know what I mean? In a way.
Yeah.
Where are
Weirdly
you-
enough, that isn't an issue for me. It's so funny. No, I have, when it comes to pleasing the client, of course I'm happy if I please them,
Yeah.
but I still have a little bit of that attitude that I had in my 20s where like they don't know. Just leave it to me. Just they don't know. Like I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'd like to think I'm not arrogant, but like, well, it's a better way to put it. It's not that they don't know, but it doesn't matter what they think they know. This is my painting. They either want it or they don't. This is my painting.
That's why you have to deposit, right?
What's that? That's why
why-
you get the butt. But honestly, it's worked for me over the years. I've never, ever had anyone not happy with a commission.
Yeah.
But
that's
I've
great.
never, ever let them give input, ever.
Oh.
They never give input. It's a hard, fast rule. You hire me, I do it the way I want it. And they've always been happy with it. I had a client once that said, you never tell a dog how to bark.
Huh.
And I think that is the truest statement. If a client goes to an artist and they try and insert their own opinion, their own ideas, after having chosen the artist for liking what the artist does,
Yeah.
they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. Let
Yeah.
the artist do what you love about the artist, right? And so
Right.
I believe that so strongly that I just say, look, you're the subject, but I do the work. I do the deciding on the
Yeah.
creative. Well, I take all the creative decisions, and
Yeah.
people love it.
Yeah. I learned that late in the process with, and I had it as a term in the contract.
Yeah.
that as far as the painting goes, I call the shots, but my only time I would present would be for likeness purposes at the end or near the end, just to make adjustments,
Right.
and then,
Right.
and most 90% of the people were wonderful and, beautiful, everything's fine. But you get that little few that would be like with their monocle or something, finding wrong.
I know.
That,
I've never
What?
had a family, like if I've done a family portrait, I've never had a family ever complain about the other members of the family.
right.
They're always like, oh, my children. Well, it's okay. Forgive me. This is just my experience. I'm not making any judgments. It's
Yeah.
always the mom. The mom thinks the father looks perfect likeness. All the kids are a perfect likeness, but she's not. And I'm always like, that's interesting.
Well, because we're so hard on ourselves. I would be that way.
I'm like, I'm sorry, but you are. It's spot on, and you just don't like what you're looking at.
Yeah,
I could tell you stories, but I won't today.
I know I have a few too, but you better change the subject. I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth. So.
I know I should too. Oh man. Anyway, all right. Well, let's go back to your some of your work.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, I just got to look at this one and highlight this one.
Mhm.
What did you do here? Are you sanding and what is this?
Thing. Oh gosh, Jeff. Yes, my brothers even gave me their discarded electric sanders. I love the sanding. Yeah.
But in this, are you like using combs and? I mean, what are some of the tools? List some of the craziest tools you're using here. Anywhere, not just here, but anywhere.
Yeah, sanders, both electric and just regular sandpaper, scrapers, like I don't know what they're called. They're just flat, like almost like a credit. We could use a credit card, old credit card too. Whatever. Some kind of scrape. Like ceramics, they have like this hooky thing, like I like to scoop sometimes the paint off.
Really?
Brayers are big. The printmaking brayer.
That's the roller thing, right?
Yeah, roller. It's got a sponge in the middle, but the outside of it's not all sponge. Like there's like a coating it, so it's like for printmaking, so you're not absorbing all the ink.
Right.
So,
it's got a rubber outside coating. Yeah.
Right. But the sponge in the middle gives you some give, so that you can either press hard or use lighter pressure, and it gives different effect. I love the brayers. That really changed a whole lot. I use tape, like the blue painting tape.
Tape to mask or tape to pull off paint?
Tape. Well, I never thought of that one. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, like a frisket, like like I'll cut out.
Yeah, to mask.
Yeah, to mask. Yeah, duh. English is not my first language. Any like steel wool I've used, fingers a lot. I mean, lately just a lot of fingers. A little bit of palette knife, but I prefer. I don't like. The thing I don't like about painting with palette knife, it leaves this like shiny surface to it that I don't like. I
agree.
Yeah. So usually I'll just plunk it on with palette knife, and then smear it with something else. Rags. Brushes, are so absolutely infrequent, but
really, they're infrequent.
I do use them, but my brushes are so terrible. They're I need new brushes. I just trash them. I really trash.
This is where we got to drop the Rosemary commercial.
Yes. No, you know what? Speaking of Rosemary, I need to order from them. I'm going to use your discount code. I got one. I'm probably one of the few in the world of artists that have not bought rosemary brushes. And I got one as a gift. And I go, oh my God, these are good. This is
they're amazing. Yeah.
So I got to get some more.
Yeah, they're good brushes.
I'll use them again, and I use them in parts. But
so even on the face, you're not using. Yeah, I guess those do sort of look like fingerprints more than anything.
Yeah, I do a lot of yeah, like this. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
You must
I-
not. You must not touch your face and stuff a lot when you work.
Oh, I do. No, I get covered.
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed in my pocket, I'm always touching my face, so I got to be careful what I get in my hands.
Yeah.
You don't want to
No,
rub that stuff in your eyes or anything.
Yeah. The problem I've had to teach myself to look in the mirror before I go out in public. Because
Yeah.
I've done alizarin comes in one time, the whole socket of
Are
my
you
eye
serious?
went to-
How did that happen?
Oh, well, just
You just rubbing a perfect circle.
yeah.
That's bizarre.
And I go out and people are looking at me. Why are they looking at me? And get in the car and I'm like, oh, Jesus, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that is just a remarkable piece. I can't even get over it.
Well, there's one I threw the solvent on because I was so frustrated. It was a completely different painting.
Really?
I completely changed it, used a whole other reference and composition and everything.
A whole other reference.
Everything, yeah.
So
It was
it's
like a
not
whole-
even the same painting. You just use the same
No.
panel.
just use the same panel.
Oh, okay.
But once I got rid of that original painting and then I saw I need a figure in this gloom here.
Wait a minute. So you obliterated the painting and ended up with this sort of muddy gray,
Yes.
and then you added a figure into it.
And I love
That's impressive.
I love my muddy colors. And that's the other rule. All this with the mud. I love mud.
Yeah, but you do add some chroma here and there to
yeah.
complement the mud, or I guess complement, or would it be contrast? I don't know.
And
Both.
again, it depends. Yeah, it all depends. Like what that painting needs, it's just one of my personalities crop up and say, yeah, this one needs more color. So pull out the colors. And then I pick a color. And I go, which one?
Are you familiar with Odd Nerdrum?
Yes.
This head has a very Odd Nerdrum quality to it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I studied him a long time ago. I like his services. I don't quite understand all the kish, but
Yeah.
I listened to your interview. That was fascinating.
Yeah, he turned out to be a really nice guy. Like, I mean, not that I had any preconceived notions on who he was, but it's always nice to meet your idols and be like, oh man, they're really cool. He was a really cool guy.
Yeah, I think I encountered his work probably, 30 years ago or something. And where did I see? I saw some show in person and they were just huge.
Oh man,
and
yeah.
the surfaces, those layers. I'm like, what the heck is going on here with the layers? So that he was probably, definitely an influence.
You found it. That honestly, if you just showed me those eyes and nose and told me it was Odd Nerdrum, I would have believed it.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting you're copying him or anything. It's clearly different painting, but it's his ability to obscure features and still have it read is so incredible.
Yeah.
And you pulled that off.
Thank you. Yeah. It's the whole, in the eyes, wiping them off several times, putting them back, wiping them off, and then finding that happy medium somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of wiping eyes off.
Yeah. That was fun with that palette.
Wow, this one's different. Man, that's a bold move.
It was one of those things where that kind of line shows up a lot with the work, and I'll know when I'm 95 the meaning of it, but because it shows up a lot, and whether it's a black line or that one was bolder. There's something about that line. I don't know why I put that there, but it's just, again, an intuitive thing, and I love the ovals. I want to order more. It's a nice size. It's like a 30-inch in the length and 22.
Oh, that's bigger than I expected.
Yeah. Big.
Well, what's really interesting about it is, and you kind of talked about, you talked about this earlier, how you want the figure to be part of the landscape, not in front of the landscape.
Yeah.
Landscape meaning the abstract elements.
Right.
And here you've got this abstract element coming down the back of the hair and then down the shoulder, and then it becomes 3D. It becomes part of the model in a way, like a string draping over her arm because you cast a shadow from it.
Yeah.
That's a really cool.
Thank you.
A cool solution.
Yeah. See, the paintings show the solutions, you know, like I couldn't think of all these things in my head, like in my little brain. Like I couldn't sit down and say, oh, here's when I'll put the line. It's like doing the painting, then you find the solutions.
So you might have just drawn a line across her hand and then went, no, I need to make the line over her hand. I'll put a shadow there.
Yeah,
Just
it's
a
like
constant back and forth.
Exactly. You're just constantly talking to yourself and all your personalities.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that one's so pretty. Look at that hand. It's so refined compared to everything else.
Do you see what's in the corner where her finger's pointing? No one sees that. I put in a surprise.
There's a little, you mean in the bottom left?
Yeah.
The little ball?
Okay. Turn it upside down.
Visualize it upside down. I don't know that I'm that good. I don't see it. What is it?
It's a smiley face.
What? I still don't see it. How am I missing it?
Yeah, it's right by her little fingers there.
Every time I go over it, that thing comes up. Dang it.
Yeah.
So it's right by her pointer finger.
Yeah, it's a little smiley face.
I don't see the smile.
It's facing her.
Oh, I see it now. Oh my gosh, I'm so slow. That was bad. I should cut that part. That's just plain embarrassing.
Well, it's hidden. It's not obvious.
Yeah, this one, man, talk about grays. These are some beautiful grays.
Thank you.
And even when you get chromatic, the more I look at your work, it only looks chromatic because of it surrounded by grays. That's not pure yellow or orange by any stretch.
No, it's a lot of glazes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are these marks made of or from?
I think I had taped down one of the layers, little stripy things in the earlier layers, and then when I would glaze and add color on top of it.
So you just put tape down just as a design element, painted over it, pulled it off, and then painted over it again.
Yeah, depending on what it needs. Sometimes the paint or the tape doesn't do anything, you know, whatever. Like I pull them up random times during the process and decide if I like it or not, or cover it up, or you know, whatever. It's all about, let's try it. You know, I'm always saying, let's see what happens. See what happens. And then either I like it or I don't. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I really like that tape effect. I've got a friend, his name is Seth Bolo. He's an artist and he does that with charcoal. And he'll like rip the tape off and pull paper off with it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the art.
Yeah, I did that when I was doing some charcoals too. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did some. I love drawing like that, real detailed stuff, with the pencil and charcoal.
This one almost looks like a pastel.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
A lot of dry brushing in this.
Yes, it's my new favorite thing, the dry brush. Yes.
Okay, but that's a brush. So are you using like a 2-inch house brush or something? What are you doing?
Combination of sizes, and this is where my terrible ratty brushes are finding a second life.
Yeah.
I keep them in a separate little jar just for this reason, in case I want to resurface or resurrect them for something. And yeah, I think on that one I did a lot, but that one also had a lot of cold wax. I use cold wax often.
Cold wax?
Cold wax. Mm-hmm.
What's the rules with mixing that with oil? How does that work? I've never used wax before. Yeah,
this is from Gamblin. I use theirs. It has a little bit of solvent in it. Mm-hmm. And I only use them in the later layers. I don't like to start to finish use it. It's fine. You could varnish it just like anything else. You just gotta let it dry enough.
And you can paint oil under it and over it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can just mix it in between layers, the wax.
Yeah. I mix it with paint. I use it as a medium.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it adds like a translucent, full-bodied kind of nice textural, and it's matte. It's got a little matte.
But does it dry hard?
Yeah, it does.
It does? I think of it drying like a candle where you could stick your fingernail into it.
No.
It's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fascinating. And you can even varnish with cold wax. Yeah.
I
You know,
have tried that before, and it
yeah,
is matte. Your blacks totally sink in.
yeah, yeah. But you could then you buff it, and it could be like a little satin
Hmm.
finish. Yeah. But
Oh, it's so pretty.
oh, that one was fun. Yeah,
There's
that
a lot
pink.
of color there.
Yeah. See, I pick and choose my spots for color. You know, they're they come and go. Like I go through phases of color.
Yeah, and yet it's still unified with your other work.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. And then even yeah, just all kinds of, and you know, depending, they're very much mood driven as far as like how I feel about life or my life or the greater world. So that's the beauty of working in layers for me, is that each day I come to these, if I'm feeling pissed off or happy or sad or mad or whatever, it all goes into the paint, you know, and then I
Mm.
can decide at the end where I want it to stop. You know, like, do I want it to end up, you know, with my happier self or my more moody self? But I like the nebulous feeling of you can't figure out how she's feeling. And I think that
Mm.
leaves it up to the viewer to inject their own feeling about it or their own interpretation of what it is. I don't like to, you know, spill that out too much. And I have my own whatever process with the painting, but I think the viewers should have their own.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably every artist.
Yeah, and these textures are freaking cool. What is
And
this?
that,
Is this tape down here too?
yeah, that was taped down there. And then I, you know, she's one boobed, but oh well. I was going to put the other one in. I thought it doesn't need it.
Oh, I
So
didn't even think anything of it. I
yeah,
mean, the way you're painting, again, you're setting yourself up to be able to do whatever you want.
yeah. Basically, I guess it's time. It's time.
Yeah, that texture around her body is just cool. How'd you keep the background so clean?
Well, that was yeah. That's the raw panel, color white. I taped it off. It stayed. I put a bunch of masking tape down to
Oh
keep it
yeah, I
clean.
see the masking tape right here too.
Yeah. And then those spots that it got smudged a little bit, I just, you know, threw in those petals just to cover them up.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That is,
Thinking
yeah, that's a true problem solving. Just, and
and
you
then
could have sanded it off too, right?
yeah, yeah. And I had every intention of putting the chair, like I had, she was leaning, you know, on the chair. And yeah, I was going to put it in eventually, but then as I went on, like, it doesn't need a chair. So,
Hmm. Have you looked at Scott Burdick's recent work?
oh yeah, I love his work.
This
Yeah,
reminds me a little bit of his
yeah,
recent work.
yeah. I love that. You know, so talk about finding your natural bent. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's always from. You know, I've known his work for a while, and he's always been that juicy painter that I always
Mm-hmm.
Was envious of, because I could never paint that thick. You know, like I was too timid or whatever. It just wasn't my natural way. But you know, he's just found a beautiful way to use that real impasto, thick, juicy paint in his paintings. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty chunky.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, is there anything else I'm not asking you that you could tell me about your work? I know that's a terrible question, but I'm so fascinated by it, but it is so mysterious. Like it's hard to even know what to ask.
I don't even know what to say. So
Yeah, so we're in the same boat.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Oh,
my son.
interesting. Yeah, these are, oh, I love that one too. That was in the slideshow. I love the way you just let the shoes kind of disappear into the background.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
her
you.
whole torso disappears into the background.
Yeah, that one was also a turning point piece for me, because it was I intentionally made her hand bigger, like because I was going to correct it. It was like one of those things. Oh my God, her hand's way too big, and I was going to correct it, but the minute I put that like whatever water line or whatever the heck thing in there, I thought, no, I'm just going to leave it. It's like that's like her hand under the water or something. I don't know. Doesn't
Oh,
make
you're
any.
talking about this line right through here.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was going to adjust it until I put that line in, and I thought, no, I'm just going to leave it. It just needs that blue line, and that blue line ended up being the tape that I had used for a different part of it. And then when I pulled it off, I go, wow, I need that blue color back. And then
What? So there it is. There's the additional thing that I was looking for. Even the tape itself becomes an inspiration.
Yeah, what the heck? Sometimes the color of it, needs to be there. And then the mark in her dress was, I didn't know what color to make her dress. It was always brown. And I go, all right, I'm just going to throw some paint down, white. And I started at the bottom of the painting, I started, I pulled it up with a bigger like squeegee type thing to drag that color up. And then as I was hitting into her clothing, I go, wait a minute, okay, added more white there, and then continued dragging it up. And it caught the way it caught and made that texture in her dress. And I thought, okay, done right there. And it just made that interesting texture that I could not have predicted, could not have duplicated any other way than how I dragged that paint up. So,
so it's your approach as compared to someone like a true total academic right out of an atelier would be almost like you're acting as a curator of randomness.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're right out of atelier and you've been taught this is how you do it, you start with the drawing, you transfer the drawing, then you work from the head down to the shoulders, and it's this clear cut process from certain ateliers. This isn't mine, but other ateliers, and then you're just like throwing stuff at it, whatever, and then just curating it. Ooh,
right.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's totally it's almost like a completely different breed of artist in a way.
Oh, thank you. But the good thing about that, the atelier process too, and
I'm not knocking it. I mean, I appreciate both. Yeah.
Right. But it's there for me. You know what I mean? If I
yeah, because you can still draw really well.
Thank you. But I could always go back. Like I reel myself in with, okay, you're out, you're gone, come back.
Back. Yeah.
And then I pick and choose my spots of where to put it in instead of just saying, well, here's the figure. By golly, it's got to be all rendered correctly and realistically. And my answer or question to that, but what is real? So I go into, that mode too. Who's deciding what is real? Maybe this big hand is the real thing. And so it is a lot of this judgment back and forth or decision making of, again, all these tools that you have or I have accumulated in all my years of painting, 48 years anymore. There's stuff I can choose and it's decisions and it's not this written way of doing it. So yeah, even all this goofiness is part of it, I guess. What's wrong with goofy?
Yeah. I have to clarify that statement a little bit because I think that even a classically trained artist, one that's really good, really knows their stuff, is curating every stroke.
Yeah, right.
Is that stroke going in the right direction? Is that stroke beautiful? Is that stroke not? Should I try another stroke? But the difference in my mind isn't maybe it's not the curation, it's the randomness.
Yeah.
Because they're putting a stroke down with pure intent to turn a form, to match a hue, chroma, value, whatever. And what you're doing is, what if I just throw some white down here?
Yeah.
Ooh, that one looks good. No, it doesn't. It's so much. So you're starting from random and then curating. That's the difference in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just following that trail of curiosity. It's all about the questions. You got to keep asking the painting questions. What would happen if I did this instead of being so frozen in, what or what you expect will happen. I have none of these paintings, I had any expectation of what they would look like in the end. I don't have that finished painting in my head that I'm following.
Okay. So that brings up this question then. Let's take this painting. You have no idea what it's going to look like in the end. You don't start with a thumbnail or anything. What do you start with? Is it just his photograph of him? Or did you find arches and him and put them together first and at least have that much information?
I had the figure. Yeah. So I had, and the reference looks somewhat like that, but not entirely. And knew I wanted it situated the way it was. And then I thought, because I was on this thing about bridges. So it's called Bridges Turn number 2. And I was seeing a lot of bridges. So sometimes when I'm working, things that I notice in my everyday life show up in the painting. So I was noticing a lot of bridges and I go, wow, it'd be kind of cool if there was a bridge back there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to go hunt for some bridges.
But that's after you'd already started the painting?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so how did you know that that was a good reference for a successful painting? Or is that also arbitrary?
that's arbitrary. All of that is.
So you could use almost any reference.
Well, I have to be drawn to the reference.
But other than it inspiring you,
Yeah.
there are no other requirements. There are no other qualifications that make a reference perfect for your painting style or your painting.
No, because I diverge from it almost immediately. Like I like it to be looking like a human.
Yeah,
so
clearly.
I'll refer to it for that purpose, but then like I don't look at the lighting, I don't look at necessarily the clothing, the likeness, all these things are changeable. Sometimes they're not, sometimes I do follow it. But like this one in particular was a little bit different, and I don't normally start this way. It started with my first layer was a pour. Like I liquefied, I forget what color combination I used, but I made like a liquidy slurry with the solvent and the oil paint in the cup, and I poured it. And
Why? I don't. It's so great, but it's so random.
Yeah, because I wanted to see what would happen. So I put it on the floor and I just poured it, and I took my big squeegee thing and spread it around.
You are the smartest, most interesting, talented kindergartner I've ever met in my life.
I didn't go to kindergarten.
That's what's happening. You missed out, and now you're trying to live your youth through your work. But who goes to work and just like, what? I'm going to mix up some sludge and throw it on the canvas.
That's exactly it, because I didn't get to finger paint. I didn't paint.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine that. That's awesome.
I just colored. I colored. I was a colorer. I still have my crayon box from when I was a kid. But anyway, that's diversion.
But you didn't take it to court. And we could clarify that. You didn't take your crayons to court.
In a cigar box. Oh my God.
That's crazy. I can't imagine going to work and thinking to myself, I'm going to start a painting right now. Let me go grab a bowl so I can make a sludge and throw it on a canvas.
I want you to try that, Jeff.
I'm gonna try and get out of my comfort zone a little more. I'm not even kidding. It's seriously inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, only the time I really went that way. See, to me, this is now maybe because I've gotten used to this kind of this discomfort being comfortable. But my first feeling, one of my first out of the comfort range, whatever, I'm babbling. I went on a plein air workshop in New Mexico, and I was completely out of my comfort zone over there. But it opened my mind to being okay with that kind of discomfort. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that now, I mean, it's just paint on canvas. Who cares? You know, in the span of life.
Right.
So that now doing this kind of stuff, not just because of that thing, but many things, I'm okay with it. I almost feel like it's necessary as a creative person to allow yourself that kind of time, to allow yourself that kind of space to let the unknown bubble up. Mm-hmm. Do we need to, as artists, isn't that the definition of being an artist or a visionary or a painter or whatever you want to call yourself, that you've allowed your brain to open up to other possibilities? And this is the only way I know how to do it, is to let that unseen become seen or felt, the whole felt thing that Martin Campos exposed me to that word.
Oh, another great one who follows your sensibilities to some degree.
Felt, yes, he's amazing. That felt experience, he gave me that term, which is intuition. But you're moving with your gut. You know, you're just like, do this. Is it right or wrong? You're moving quickly through that decision and not dwelling on it so much. Now there's a fingerprint there. See, okay, there's an eyeball that I use. You can see
you should charge more for this, because that's like almost like putting your DNA into the painting.
Well, they're all over my painting, so now I almost make it a thing. If they can't figure out my signature, my
Well, don't
finger.
commit any serious crimes because there is evidence of your thumbprints everywhere. Man, yeah. Speaking of odd nerdrum, man, oh man,
Yeah, that was several layers too. Jesus.
that's got to be what it is. It's that breaking down because I know he does that. But breaking down, building up, breaking down, building up, breaking down.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I was afraid. That one was another one that was like a stepping stone for me, but it kind of like, no one really responded to it.
Really? I love that.
Yeah, it was just that the sketchiness of it, like it's undefined. I really was
And the
happy with.
value range is so
I like that close
minimal.
value.
Yeah, me too. That's
Really
great.
great.
Did you get that close value range by putting layers on top, or did you actually paint it with that close value range?
I think the first layer was probably in the mid range, and I didn't want to go any darker than that. I think right there by her ear was that darkest layer, and I put that down just to test. I said, okay, just keep it there. That's the darkest layer, and then adjust accordingly. So
Yeah.
maintain that middle range.
Hmm.
But it was a lot of layers too.
Yeah, this is fun looking through your details. You know, the other reason to put details on Instagram is that's what everyone likes on Instagram. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, they are interesting, but it's bizarre in just how predictable it is.
Yeah.
Man, look at that.
Yeah.
That
was
is too cool.
lucky.
God, love all those textures. And look at the way you just sort of skimmed over it, and it's a great looking highlight.
Well, it was lucky, like that was a finger mark too, but it just so happened that when I dipped my hand in the palette, I was going for that lighter green, and somehow there was a fleck of white in there. And then I put it down. I'm like, oh, okay.
Get out of town.
It was just lucky, and I was smart enough to leave it.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at a couple more here, and then we'll move on to the final question here. But I'm just enamored by all these details. I purposely don't do this before the interview, like really scan. I know who you are. Obviously, I would have invited you, but I only know who you are by what comes up in my feed.
Yeah.
I purposely don't go to their page, to the artist page beforehand and really go through because I want to be surprised during the interview about certain things.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're authentically responding.
Right, exactly. I don't want to fake it. Be like, oh, this is so beautiful when I've already been through that whole thing. Yeah, man. All right. So, God, this has been so much fun. And you have such a great personality. It's been a blast. And I'm really, thank you very much for not running up into the attic during the middle of the interview.
Right in the middle. I was tempted. The door's over there.
That would have blown the whole thing. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate you shining a light on my work. I really.
Oh, it's seriously my pleasure. So if you've heard the podcast before, you probably know my final question, and that is, if you could give one piece of advice to an aspiring artist, what would it be?
Trust yourself and turn down the volume of the outside world.
Turn down the volume. Can you expound on that a little more?
All the shoulds, like when you're a painter, you're judging yourself so harshly, and there's all these shoulds.
I'm glad I asked you to expound because that's not what I got at all. I thought you were saying like turn off social media, turn off politics, turn off whatever, and just focus on your art. But you're saying don't let other people's opinions get into your head.
Yeah. And it could be also what you just said, because I do that. I don't have internet at the studio. I try to stay off. In fact, I'm barely online as much anymore. The other side of my Facebook, I haven't posted in probably 2 years, but I don't like the whole social media thing train.
Yeah.
But without it, I guess we got to do some of it. But I'd rather not.
Me too.
Yeah, and you have to. You got to juggle all these balls. I great admiration for what you're doing, Jeff. I appreciate
Thanks.
your place in the world and what you're making and doing and sharing.
I appreciate that. Well, ditto. Same to you. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it. This has been a blast, and I hope to meet you in person someday.
Yeah,
I don't know
hopefully.
if I'll ever be in Ohio, right?
Yeah, Ohio.
But you never know.
Never know.
It'd be great
Yeah,
to meet you. But if you're ever in Salt Lake,
okay.
you gotta look me up.
Knocking on the door.
Yeah,
Okay.
knock on my door. Anyway, thanks again. It was a blast.
It was a blast here too.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.